The Philadelphia Eagles have a ton of free agents. We'll tell you some of our favorites that the Dallas Cowboys could target next.
You are Locked On Cowboys, your daily Dallas Cowboys podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Cowboys podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We'd like to thank you for making us the #1 sports podcast network. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Welcome back. I am your host, Marcus Mosher. He is Landon McCool. And on today's show, we're discussing some free agents that the Philadelphia Eagles have on defense that Christian Parker could try to convince to come over to Dallas, is the way that I'm going to put it. And let's start with, I think, maybe the most obvious name, and that's Reed Blankenship, the safety who did a little bit of everything for Philadelphia. I think if I had to pick one guy that's the most likely to sign with the Cowboys this offseason, it's probably him.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it on our regular show too. That like this is just one of those situations where it makes too much sense, right? Yeah. Like you bring over the defensive passing game coordinator for the Eagles, their free safety, their starting free safety who has been with him his whole time there. It becomes available in free agency. It's just there's so many reasons to do it, right? Obviously, you get to transcribe over the playbook for a guy that can help teach it to all the other players in the defensive backfield. You just understand how the fit is going to be, right? Because you clearly have seen this player play in this system before. So, and then on top of that, obviously, you're probably getting a pretty good value because you're not having to pay extra. For someone that is, an elite safety. You're getting the kind of talent bump by someone who's a good fit for the system and is a good fit for the system. So, like I said, there's just too many reasons to do it. It makes too much sense. They practically were hinting at it in the press conference. Yeah. So I'm excited to see if that comes out.
And we should mention Philadelphia only has $18 million of cap space. Now, they can free up some money. They can't free up a ton of money, and they've got some big-name free agents, including Jaelan Phillips, their defensive end. This is a guy that we've liked for a long time. He's got a long injury history.
Yeah,
I think Philadelphia is going to try to keep him. They traded a third-round pick at the deadline for him. But if, for whatever reason, the Eagles decide not to bring him back, if you can get him on a 2-year deal at $15 or $16 million per season, I would be interested.
I think so too. I mean, just because I think you need one of these types of body types on their defensive line. You need one of these bigger defensive line, edge players that can play a little bit in and outside if you want. Just because you need the versatile body types. You plan on playing multiple fronts. You don't really. I mean, I think right now it would be Clowney that would be the guy that you kind of pencil in as that body type.
Assuming he's back.
Yeah, no, yeah, assuming he's back. But if you wanted to spend a little bit more and try to upgrade the spot, and he was available, obviously someone like Phillips would be the kind of price point that you would be looking at.
He's also just a really good pass rusher. And I think if you went into the draft, let's say with Ezraku, Phillips, and you brought back Jadeveon Clowney and you had James Houston, you would feel really good about your defensive line as a whole. You've got Solomon Thomas who can play on the edge if you needed. I just don't know if the Cowboys are going to be willing to pay that much money for a guy with that extensive of an injury history. I also don't know if Philadelphia is going to let him leave either, because they had almost no pass rush without him last year.
It'll be interesting to see what his market is, because the injury situation is very real. But he was a very productive, good player in Miami and in Philadelphia. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
All right, let's talk about a linebacker that the Cowboys could have some interest in. We'll talk about Nakobe Dean next. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Have you ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance of a lifetime to turn that dream into a reality with their NBA sweepstakes. And here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right, flights, tickets, the whole experience for you and another person. I love this time of year for the NBA because we're getting closer to the playoffs. We're after the All-Star break. The contenders are really starting to separate themselves. So go find the bet that you like the most, whether that's a team to win their division, to win their conference, and it's all available on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. This episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Welcome to the 5 Hour Energy Flavor Draft. We're looking at every aspect of the draft to let you know which tasty flavors are the best and which ones might be sleepers. The board is set, the flavors are ready, and only one is going to take the top spot. 5 Hour Energy has a wide variety of flavors, so there's something for everyone. And 5 Hour Energy shots give you a boost with zero sugar, and there's no crash. They have a lot of unbelievable flavors right now. Cherry is always one of my go-tos, but I really like the sour apple. That one has been really growing on me. It's deliciously tart. It's got a bold but sweet flavor as well, but the sour really kicks in at the end. I wish I could do a better job of explaining it because it's just so good. So find your new favorite flavor of 5 Hour Energy shots available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Welcome back to the Locked On Cowboys podcast. We'd like to thank you for making us your first listen every single day. We're discussing some Eagles free agents that the Cowboys could target on defense. And I wanted to mention to you Nakobe Dean because I think linebacker is the spot that I would like to see the Cowboys at least bring in a veteran. Dean's been banged up. He's only 26, and he's a really good fit in this defense. I don't think he's going to cost a ton. And it's the same thing I said about defensive end. If you go into the draft with Overshown, Dean, Shamar James, and Leafau, it's not a top 10 unit or anything like that. But I just feel so much better about where they're at least going into April.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I've been pretty clear that my preference is to actually really spend some money at linebacker and go and get one of these top guys. But if that's not in the cards, if you want to kind of reallocate that money elsewhere, or you're just not interested in signing to a linebacker like that, I think Dean makes as much sense as anybody. Certainly more sense than the kind of equivalent value linebackers that you've signed here these last few years, right? Specifically Kenneth Murray, I guess is what I should say. Like it has worked out for you at different points. It's not like Eric Kendricks was terrible, to be honest.
No, Kendricks was good. That was actually a good signing. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think that's necessarily a terrible strategy to sign the kind of more veteran guy, but maybe signing, obviously Dean has some of the injury stuff, and that's why he's probably, not being re-signed is again, like Phillips. It's not a problem when he's on the field. The issue is when, staying on the field, right?
Well, and the other part for Philadelphia is they paid Zach Bond a ton of money. Yeah. They drafted Jihad Campbell in round 1 last year. And Nakobe Dean's going to want to go somewhere where he can play. And Philadelphia is just not a spot where there's a path to, starting snaps outside of an injury.
And to be fair, Dean really kind of showed up this season, right? Like in a way that he hadn't necessarily previously. So it suddenly it's like, well, it's kind of too little, too late. We drafted Jihad Campbell at this point, so that's how we're going to go.
I will say, I was looking at PFF's like projected numbers on him.
Yeah,
3 years, $13.5 million per season.
Per season?
Per season.
No,
they got
absolutely not.
They got 3 years, $30 million for him.
No, see, like if that's the market,
I'm out.
I'm out.
But that seems high for me. I just don't see. So he played 400 snaps this year, and he played 182 in 2023. I have my doubts that any team's going to offer him that much money.
To me, in my brain, I was thinking like 8 or 9 million, and even at that range, that seemed a little bit rich.
I was thinking like the 1 year, $6 million range.
See, I think 7 million is probably what I think is appropriate, right? Yeah. Like, so yeah, we're in the same range, but I think there's a likelihood that he could get paid a lot more. Well, obviously, PFF thinks it. So
I mean, every team needs linebackers, so that could be the reason why we see it. Anybody else here that's interesting to you?
I think, some of the other guys you could just kind of nibble around the edges a little bit and just see, what you get out of them just because they are, familiar with what you're doing. Kind of like, I think if you're trying to go cheap and just trying to get some labor, I think Azeez Ojulari is only 25, not even 26 years old, and he's been up and down, at times, certainly not lived up to maybe his draft prospect or what everyone expected. But I think as far as a guy to add to your rotation and so another guy with experience doing the playing in the defense that you're going to be playing in, I think it makes a ton of sense. And again, I would say a very similar thing about, Marcus Epps. I think it's like, I wouldn't sign him as a starter, but I think if you're looking for somebody who can play and won't get you killed and has experience playing in this system, who could be a veteran presence, you could probably do worse than signing Marcus Epps to something like a 1 year, $4 million deal.
Probably. All right, that is it for today's show. We'd like to thank you for making Locked On Cowboys your first listen every single day. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Cowboys ad-free plus members-only Discord access and so much more. Head over to lockedoncowboys.supercast.com to join the club. And for those of you on video, we can send you the first ever 24/7 national NBA YouTube channel. And on audio, make your second listen the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. Follow Landon on Twitter at McCoolBCB. I'm at Marcus_Mosher, and we'll see you right back here on Monday.